Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Baer, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yo, what's up?
Wyatt, I'm glad you're back from returning your videotapes, but going to Salt Lake City to return them, it's really far, dude.
Well, dude, man, those Redbox overage fees are a killer. You just gotta get it back before the McDonald's mafia gets me.
Fucking Redbox. Does Redbox still exist?
They do.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm not sure if they're at McDonald's anymore.
The only place I can ever recall seeing one is outside of Mickey D's.
And I saw there used to be some at Walmart's too.
I haven't been to a Walmart in like 5 years.
No, I mean, I feel you on that. Or I haven't, I mean, you're right. You're right. I don't even, there's a guy on TikTok, and I can't remember the name of it, but like, I think he's like just like a low level comedian. And the whole bit is like, he has like a Gen Z daughter. And the whole bit is like, he'll just like walk up to her and say something like ridiculously out of context from like our era. And she'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about, Dad? Like, what? Like shit like that. He's like, yo, don't forget, you got to mail back the DVDs to Netflix so we can get our next DVD. She's like, you can't mail things to Netflix, Dad? What are you saying? Like shit like that from the past.
I still vividly remember that era of Netflix.
It's the funniest little TikTok excursion because like it's all of the things we did and like how somebody now would be like, what the fuck are you smoking?
Or like the friends of, I can't call you till after 9, friends and family.
Yeah.
You're on my
I got to limit in weekends, nights and weekends though, son.
Yep.
Yo, are you in my 5? Are you in my 5 for this shit?
5s.
Those good times, man. They officially killed off the iPod too this year. Did you hear that?
I didn't know they were still making them.
Yeah, no, they're officially not making them now.
Interesting. Because isn't like every iPhone you've ever bought and put in a drawer after you bought the new one technically an iPod? You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't understand why anyone would buy that piece of technology.
No, I think you should resell them. I mean, they're still worth money. I mean,
your iPhone 5 that you still sit in a drawer boots right up, and that's basically an iPod, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. God, it's so ridiculous.
I saw an interview with Rob Van Winkle. I believe that's his name, Vanilla Ice. And he was talking about how like the 90s were like the most or the last actual like full culture, like fleshed out culture. And he's like, I have 2 daughters, like 20 and 22 or something like that. And they think I'm dope. And he's like, and the interviewer was like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, think about it. When you think, what do you think of like fashion and like shows and movies and defining things of like the 2000s or the 2010s? And he's like, there isn't any. I mean, maybe the Matrix, but that came out in 1999, right? So like,
I think there's some stuff from the early 2000s that could be considered for stuff like that. There was some of those big trend explosions that happened. But I totally get the point.
It all kind of blurred.
To now, it's just sort of blurry.
Yeah, with the 90s kind of, right? Like, because you think about like the 90s had so many looks, so much fashion, so much like music.
The one that I think of off the top of my head is things like Ed Hardy and Affliction. Right. Those were like a cultural fashion trend in the early 2000s that was like everywhere and then gone completely. Yeah.
I mean, there was always the fads and things, but when you think about it, and they were like, well, why do you think that is? And he's like, the rise of the internet. Like the internet as a culture became the culture, mid 2000 aughts. And if you think about it, it's kind of true. And I was like, oh damn, Vanilla Ice dropping some fucking knowledge bombs.
Some truth bombs.
Somebody was, I was reading through chat and I was getting really confused because in the pregame show I was drinking a milkshake from Hollywood Burger, which I drank one of these milkshakes live.
All right. You said Hollywood Burger too many times. Are you getting an endorsement deal?
Yeah, seriously.
Hollywood Burger? Like, are you sponsored now?
Yeah.
How good is Hollywood Burger? Do they have
They're pretty solid.
options?
They send me these milkshakes for free now, as long as I mention them 3 times a podcast.
3 times. Well, we're done.
And so I got it, and I normally don't eat on stream, but I was dying, right? And so I'm like, I'm going to do this, guys. And whatever is going on, salted caramel milkshake, delicious, by the way. A lot of chunkies in it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just sucking them up, just trusting that they're, good. People in chat are like, dried milk from the machine, gross, So then I look, I'm like, all right, I got to see what's going on here. The pretzels, legitimate pretzels floating around in there. That's where the salted part comes. Right? Okay, so then I'm in an old school suck off where I'm like refusing to scoop out because it's like basically ice cream with pretzels in it. That's what I'm drinking. And I'm battling this thing for like an hour on the podcast.
God. If we ever make our own tournament,
I'm not giving up.
Be called the old school suck off.
The OG suck off, dude. I ain't gonna lose one. And then finally I'm like, okay, I concede. I open it up and it's like literally just like a mass of sloshy pretzel in the bottom. I was like, yeah, there's no way I could have pulled that off. So then I just slide it down the old throw hole, concede my loss to
just straight hoovered it.
And I just ate one just now. Like, that's what I was doing right now. And I just already know it wins. And I just drank it, enjoyed it, down the hatch. You know what I'm saying? So just anyone in chat who's curious about what was going on there, that's what was going on there. Salted caramel milkshake that is undefeatable in the suck-off challenge. Like, unless you get one of those OG icy straws, Slurpee straws from like the 7-Eleven.
Oh, with the spoon?
Yeah, and it's like also like the gauge of a fucking Husky pencil, Remember those Husky pencils?
Oh my God.
Whew.
Do they make
good
those?
Old days.
Are those things that people like?
I remember there was a brand of clothes in the early 2000s called Husky.
Oh, I exclusively wore those.
Or no, not Husky. It was like Big Dogs. That was the brand. It was Big Dog.
Big Dog.
And they had like a big Saint Bernard was their emblem.
Spelled what? Was it DAW? No, I think it was DOGS. I think so.
They had a lot of stuff with DAWG on their apparel.
It's all that, dude. It was all that 90s culture.
If you were a skinny kid, you probably don't know what the fuck we're talking about. But.
Oh, I was definitely not. That was not for me. That was not for me at all.
I had those. That's how my parents tried to make me feel like a cool kid. Like,
oh, dude, I was right there. This whole store just for you. And I would walk in there and be like, why are all these fat kids here?
And then I looked down at myself and I was like, oh, I get it.
God damn it.
I was like, yeah. Saw a picture today on the internet and it was like how I think I look, and it's a picture of Vin Diesel, and then it's like how I look in the Target cam at the checkout line, and it's Uncle Fester from the Addams Family.
No.
I was like, yeah, that's my life. Nailed it.
Are you gonna go with like Vin Diesel, but like when he's not shooting, he has like a dad bod?
I mean,
or like that commercial with Jason Momoa, like takes his like his
he's all his muscles off.
Oh, and he's all like he's all super skinny. The Super Bowl.
Yeah, he's those skinny baby arms and shit.
Yeah,
that was a good commercial.
That really was. So let's get into it. Then we got table of contents. We've got our would you rather. Obviously, don't worry, we got to win that Peabody. Got our news. Rob will be touching on the Battlescribe stuff, so stay tuned.
All up in it. Deep.
Gotta wait through the news for that. We also have boots on the ground reporting from Salt Lake City. Our boy Wyatt was there, and we actually have a top 8 breakdown. We haven't done one of these in a while because it's something that we probably fell out of doing, and maybe there was a brief moment where it wasn't as exciting as this, but this is truly exciting. Stay tuned for these comments. So let me kick it on over to Wyatt, and let's roll into the Cave of Wonders.
Ooh. Would you rather save the life of one human teenager or save the life of 100 cats? And if you choose one, the other dies.
Oh, I don't even know what you're asking.
Is it random?
What do you mean?
Random teenager on Earth, or do I get to know the teenager first?
It's random.
It's random.
It's random. Yeah.
So it could be any teenager. So literally anyone from 13 to 19 years old?
Yep.
Perfectly randomized?
Yep.
On planet Earth. Or we said 100 fucking cats?
100 cats.
Y'all, I feel like I gotta save the cats, man.
It's 100. That's 100.
That's 100 cats, man. Like
how people in chat are saying, I have teenagers. I would choose cats every single time. I would choose a single cat every time. Oh, savage.
Wow.
Like, I mean, I've got teenagers. I have to take the risk that my Nieces might be in the death pool, but I feel like if I sat down with my niece Alana and I broke this down to her, that this evil Wishmaster scenario was about to play out, and I was like, "What would you do?" She's like, "You saved a cat. You saved the cats, Uncle." That's what she was saying.
Yeah, I think so.
She would say that. She was like, "I'm willing to be in that category. I'm willing to be on the list. Save those cats." 100%. I know my niece would say that. Like, there's no way I can go to bed at night knowing that I have literally. I mean, I'm going to struggle with the other one too. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's going to suck too. They're both going to suck. But I'm going with quantity on this one. Got to save 100 cats.
I think everybody knows what I'm going to pick.
As you're like trying to get your cat in your lap right now.
Well, and she knows I can't get her. She secretly knows I'm tethered and I cannot reach her, and she's just sitting there right out. It's like I'm the pet because I'm tethered.
Yeah. And I don't particularly value human life over animal life, so it's not like that does not factor into my decision making in any capacity. I personally feel like humans are a plague and a parasite on this planet. So I don't innately value a human over a cat.
Her doesn't like getting picked up.
But I don't like either species of animal on this planet being killed. And I will go with quantity on this one.
Kenny, do you think she looks like she's been losing some weight?
Do I?
She's not really Jabba anymore, is she? Hers losing some weight. She's working on her fitness.
Is she?
Yeah, I think she's thinner.
I mean, like you said, she's working on her fitness.
Yeah.
She's been doing some exercises?
What it is I think there isn't as much food out now because there's only one. So she hasn't been stealing all the food.
Can you get her one of those little wheels to run on?
Oh, this seems like fun. I don't know how I guess you have to like put some catnip on there and get them to go in the circle. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, it might not be a popular opinion out there for the beginners, but I choose cats.
Maybe it's polarizing.
This could be our next polarizing one. Can we up it to 1 million humans on his ogre says?
Wow, it's just getting wild in here. All right.
Yikes. All right. Calm down. Wyatt Ogre woke up this morning and chose war crimes.
Yeah, he did.
And his ogre, the legend.
Like, could I hypothetically commit a war crime? I'd be really interested in that scenario.
Goodness.
I mean, for me, it's just quantity again. So now that the ante is inversed, I save the humans now. It's just that it's that simple for me. You know? But I know what Ennis Ogre is like. He's like, I'll help. He's going to Thanos this planet is what he's trying to say.
I mean,
he's definitely got a Thanos was right t-shirt. No doubt.
Goodness. Well, that was a good one.
That was a quick one because Rob obviously has a different. I mean, he's the cat daddy. So, okay,
that's true.
Well, Rob, would you like to take us to the Memorial News Desk?
Indeed, we got some news. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here. So we've got some new releases from GW this week. Still a little slow rolling things. Didn't look like they were able to get out the Chaos Demon data cards this week, which they made a little note about. So I guess we'll see those somewhere down the line. But we are getting the Chaos Space Marine Possessed for $60. The Accursed Cultist, that's the box with the basically possessed cultist and some of the bigger ones that you can swap around to take the wounds and stuff for $50. Combat Patrol Chaos Demons for $150, and the Demon Codex itself for $55. The new price after the increases in February, and then the Demon's Dice, which I think actually look pretty good for the first time in a while. Nice square edges and some cool designs in them, and of course they got the Chaos Star on the 6. Those are $38. Some Blood Bowl releases for Snotlings, and the Siege of Terra Echoes of Eternity hardback book, $30. But you can also get the super limited edition version from Black Library that will hit the online store at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So convert that to wherever you may be listening. And you could hopefully score that one. I think it was limited and signature by the Sleeve ADB. Yeah.
I want those new dice.
Yeah, those dice look good.
I'm always, I need to expand my Chaos dice collection.
Apparently the Ogre dice from the bigger ones with the Ogre Maw for the 6 came out a year or two ago. Those apparently go for big bucks.
Well, since I have switched from casino dice to themed dice for every army, I have a big Chaos dice collection now. I need more.
There you go. Well, if you can find the old golden colored ones with the black inlaid pips, including the Chaos symbol from Vigilus, so like 2018, those are pretty solid. But
is the symbol on the 6 or the 1?
It's on the 6.
That's right.
They're pretty striking. They're very, very cool looking. Don't have a whole lot. Kind of want to run through this real quick. So Joy Toy put out some more previews for yet more Warhammer 40K action figures. This time, it looks to be the Invader ATV buggy, and also some of the Marines you can use to drive it in various.
God, they're fucking legends.
Oh, dude, they are just crushing it.
They also put on.
Do you see him?
Yeah, they put out some teaser pictures today. I
like how Tor Garadon in the Joy Toy looks like Old Man Guile.
He kind of does.
He's got like the 5 head with the flat top. Looks great.
And I think they had a Redemptor too in Imperial Fist colors. Yeah, those are going to be pretty wild. They also said that Custodes and Sisters will be dropping very shortly, preview wise. So maybe Friday. Who knows? They're pretty quick with things, so wouldn't surprise me at all. Speaking of action figures as well, the McFarlane Dark Tide figures are up for pre-order right now. There's, I think, 4 different ones and 2 different artist proofs. But you can lock those in now. Of course, Dark Tide got pushed back a little bit again, unfortunately. I think it's October now, but hopefully, the wait will be worth it, and it'll be just as good as the fantasy version of that. Monument brushes are all back in stock. So if you're waiting on Monument Hobbies to get your brush sets in stock, they are over there right now. So make sure you hit those up, because who knows how long they're going to be in stock for. They tend to go pretty quick, but you probably have a little bit of time if I had to guess. But maybe not through the weekend. It might really hard.
Yeah, you better move quick, because they went back stock like last week.
Yeah. I wasn't even sure if we should do a post on it because
they could be out of stock by now.
Yeah, so I was like, we'll try to push it out quick, I guess. And then from Creature Caster, the Autarchs of Malefica will be coming out soon, and they're going to do a limited window pre-order for those as well. So they look pretty sweet. Just kind of like what I would imagine the Evil Djinn looks like, just kind of bippy bopping across the table, doing Dark Djinn magic stuff.
Just a whirling dervish of pain and despair.
Yep. And then there's one that looks pretty cool. It looks like it's they actually say they're a Djinn. So there you go. That's pretty cool. The one based on their art that they published, it looks like a kind of like a female form. Very what's that? Del Toro style Pan's Labyrinth almost. Very cool looking. So check those out over on Creature Caster right now, because they'll be going up on pre-order very, very shortly. So get on the email list for that one.
I read a lit RPG book, Rob.
What's that?
I read a lit RPG book recently where there was a drug dealer who was half Djinn, and they started talking to him. And the guy's like, "So you're like a half genie?" He's like, "That's a derogatory term, but yeah." There's actually a lot of us. We're one of the most common races in this, reality.
Right.
Like, that's odd. He's like, yeah, no one really knows why, but we speculate somebody got a Djinn in their possession and was a little strange with the wishes and maybe accidentally told the Djinn to fuck everything. And I was like, tight, I'm in. And so like the half Djinn race is like half Djinn rat. Half Djinn monkey, half Djinn human, half Djinn giraffe. Like everything is in the reality. And it's like, yeah, that's tight. I'm with it. Fucking standard Wishmaster bullshit.
Wow. That's some deep thinking right there.
Yep. Yep. My man knows. Brian Porkchop, he knows. He's the official. We always read the same books. He knows what I'm talking about. Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's one of my favorite little RPG series.
Oh, wow.
There's a cat in it, Rob. You like it. Main character.
Half the gin?
No, straight up. Persian cat.
Oh, Persian. Ooh, decadent.
Main character.
There you go. Might have to look into that. This cat's still on my lap, by the way. At some point, she's gonna suddenly spring up and rip this headset off my head. It's gonna be great, but we're not there yet. At some point, we will be betrayed. One other thing I wanted to mention was that there it is. Oh, no, I thought she was gonna jump. The Army Painter Speed Pen is up for a Tabletop Hobby Award, so you can jump over to, if you enjoy their speed paint, jump over to their socials, and there's some links on how you can vote for them. There's a couple of different nominees, but that's the out of the box, I think, out of the box best use, I believe the category was. I definitely agree with it. I've worked it into my painting lineup, and I really enjoy it. Getting stuff done pretty quick there. So that is the majority of the news. Although I did want to, let's see, what are we going to do first?
Rumors. You had some rumors you were talking about first.
Yeah, the Imperial Guard stuff. So there is another set of Imperial Guard rumors out there as far as rules rumors that supposedly was from some of the folks in the Gene Stiller Cult Discord that were responsible for some of the Eldar stuff. There's also another person on Reddit that straight up deleted their account as soon as the demon stuff was officially announced. So hard to say if they're feeling the heat, or maybe they were just GW all along and they're like, well, we don't need to talk about this anymore, and just deleted their account. But either way, I guess we'll know if the stuff they said was true as soon as the previews for the Codex book drop. So anyways, according to these rumors, apparently you can mix and match different regiments into one force instead of being all, Cadian shock trooper doctrine or, Mordians or what have you, which is, I'm sure a lot of people would like doing that, because I know a lot of Guard folks have all sorts of Guard models, mixing Catachans with whatever. Sometimes the rules benefit that, right? And apparently your army bonus won't care that if half is Catachan and the other is Krieg, you'll still get your army rule. Kind of vague, but I'm interested. I like.
That's how we used to play 40K. When 5th edition started. Only recently has that gone away, and so I get behind canonically Guard being organized more like a mundane, grounded, fighting force, like in our real life. That I can see that occurring. You know what I mean? It's not like sci-fi Space Marine chapters that have these strange cultish doctrines and gene seeds, and they have this whole little side planet nobody knows about where they go and steal those people and make them into more people. It's a lot of weird shit going on with Space Marines. You know what I mean? So them together in the battlefield could interact negatively with potentially the dominant doctrine. So I can get behind Guard being the exception to the modern take on the rules. Yeah, and kind of along that same vein, the only benefit apparently for running a unit of Catachan is to use a strat like Vicious Traps. So I guess those are specifically keyed. You have to have a unit on the table or some such, allegedly. Then there was a couple of different little special rules maybe that might be a thing. But the stuff I thought was pretty cool is the command squad is now the HQ, with the exceptions being commissars and special characters that I guess have the HQ ability. So I guess it's going to be a little bit more limited in the HQ selections. You won't get individual characters leading though. So I don't know exactly what that means. That makes sense because the trend also has been to having a lot of characters become elites Which also, if you think about it, in a battalion detachment, you can have 6 elites.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You got 3 troops, or 3 heavy, or 3 HQs, 3 everything else. Troops, you're good to go, but you have 6 elites. So a lot of buff characters have become elite choices. So that way you can kind of have your cake and eat it too, if you want to have a bunch of these characters. So I can see them just sliding things over.
Ah, okay. And then something about a field ordnance battery with the following choices: bombast field gun, heavy las cannon, and Malleus rocket launcher, which in theory, those could all just be rebranded names for the current Cadian heavy weapon squad, which kind of looks to be, and we talked about it on a podcast before, kind of looks to have been redone according to that picture that GW put out. It looks like they actually changed them. So maybe they rebranded them as well. Or this could be a brand new kit that we haven't even seen yet. But I mean, a rocket launcher is a rocket launcher at this point. I feel like we've seen it. I don't know. So that was kind of interesting. Scion's range apparently now is 24, and they also get the regimental bonus and also 6s to hit, score additional hits. So their 6s explode. Kind of cool news because they were a little hard. It turns out Guard doesn't really like to be close to enemies because they don't kill them. They're a little squishy. So I could see where maybe people weren't doing so well with that. Veteran squads and special weapon squads are gone from the book, and infantry squads lose access to heavy weapons but gain a second special weapon slot. That's a little spicy because I guess,
So they get rid of the heavy weapon squads?
No, special weapon squads.
Special weapon
like
squads.
5 meltas or whatever it was.
Again, that's on brand, because if you look at the history of what's happened with Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines, we used to have a lot of data sheets that were, even before we even called them data sheets, they're just codex entries, right? Like you have a lot of like units that kind of are the same unit as another unit, but they have like a complex set of like infinite options, like command squad, honor guard squad. You had all these like squads that can just take everything, right? And you've noticed the trend is like they're just kind of pulling those out, right? You have something that occupies that role, right? Some squad in your force, in your data sheets, has the ability to take multiples of the same thing, but like not just this exclusive thing, right? So I can see the special weapons teams going away, but I could also see another data sheet taking its place that functionally does the same thing and more, right? More like, because that's also a trend I've observed, is you usually have this like one highly customizable thing.
Yeah, I mean, that is possible. But infantry squads not being able to have that like mortar launcher or las cannon. I mean, I'm not like married to it. I guess it's just kind of traditional to me, but.
Wait, didn't you say they can have two options now?
Yeah, but they could have a second special weapon slot. So I guess like 2 grenade launchers, 2 meltas, 2 plasmas, whatever.
No, that's again on brand. Like that's almost everything right now. You can take 3 power fists. You can take 1 for every 5. Like that's very on brand with rank and file troop stuff.
Right. So that was interesting. That's fundamental changes to Guard.
But Rob, it also kind of tells you what's going to be in a box too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, because they just put out that upgrade sprue with the Cadian, so maybe that's the box now.
Mm-hmm. No, like straight up, something people get upset about is they don't give you enough things in the box to do all the options. People for the first 28 years, but then what GW did was fucking genius. They said, you know what, you're right. So then the codex entries changed to what the box is.
Easiest way to fix it.
And I was like, genius. And people are like, that's not what we said. I was like, I mean, you didn't directly say that, but they still offered you a solution. Who cares? If a unit of Space Marines, this is the things you can do, and that's it. That's your that's your tool that you can use on the tabletop, and the box facilitates that now. Now there's exceptions to that, right? For example, Terminators, Chaos Terminators. We've already had enough of new boxes of Terminators and everything like that. So what they did there was so classy, where they said accursed weapons.
Yep.
They said, even though this box comes with the 2 of these, fuck it all. Cursed weapon. It's whatever you want it to mean. You genius.
That's how we get the Djinn. Fucking weapons.
Oh, what's the complaint? Oh, it's 2 autocannons and 2 last cannons and a box of freaking Havocs. That's ridiculous. That's literally what they 140 or 125 points. That's what you're buying, and then you can upgrade beyond it. Like, I love that. I love when they tell us that and simplify those tools, those kits, and like for not just like physically, but like my theoretical toolkit on the table. Like, I love that. So like I'm excited to see what the new guard has, in store for us, because obviously they're old school. They've been around since the beginning. They've got all the tanks, which is so cool. They need a new book because they're existing in a state of like classic, strange rule synergies with the rest of the edition. So I'm applauding this quick and move toward getting the guard out there.
Yeah, I agree. And the last part of the rumor was the supposed combat patrol contents, which is said to be the Cadian Shock Troopers, the Field Ordnance Battery, Armored Sentinel, and Cadian Command Squad, which could all be new models. If you think about it, we've seen, at least we know the Sentinel's new. We know the Shock Troopers have an upgrade sprue. The Field Ordnance Battery could just be the Heavy Weapon Squad that is now rebranded and also looks to be new. And the Command Squad also looks to be new in that preview picture. But hopefully we'll know a little bit more. There's some previews next week.
Very cool.
So that's the latest on the guard rumors.
So let's do the elephant in the room. Battlescribe. It's gone forever. It doesn't exist anymore.
GW actually bought it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So I guess yesterday at some point, the developers, or excuse me, not the developers, the data maintainers, the community data maintainers for Battlescribe noticed they had been removed from the App Store, and due to it, not receiving updates, et cetera. Apparently, it's slated to come down off Google Play in November. It was already supposedly down off Amazon Fire at that point. So I spoke to them and I'm like, hey, what's up? Well, the data maintainers, not the developer. Because remember, the developer supposedly has been MIA for like 2 years. Like, they haven't talked. The people that actually provide the value for the Battlescribe product are the people that, for free, maintain all the data files, make sure it's all right, all data stuff. I couldn't even imagine, and keeping it all like, moving, right? Like, it's a job. They don't even get paid for it. The guy that's getting paid is the developer guy over here. If you choose to donate to Battlescribe, he gets some money. So fast forward to, apparently it's all, down off the App Store. They were making a statement, hey, don't delete your Battlescribe, don't delete your data. It all still kind of works. Very next day, the developer appears out of thin air, and he's like, I'll read his statement to you. According to him, well, this is embarrassing. Apparently, an expired credit card caused my iOS developer account to go down for a bit, meaning the app couldn't be reached in the App Store. It should be back up and running now /soon. Heart. When asked if there was actually going to be, updates, if he's actually still working on the app, his response was, it's not been all downtime over here. I've been experimenting with and researching new technologies to ensure Battlescribe is future-proofed. This is work that has been sorely needed for a long time. It's a huge job, and there's still a lot to do. ... And OJ is still looking for the killer, folks. That's what it sounds like to me. And Twitter went wild, and Reddit went wild, and man, I don't even know. So I went back to our friends, again, the data file maintainers for Battlescribe. And I was like, guys, what's up? What's happening? Talk to me. And well, there's a lot of them, and they don't always agree on their official statement. As a matter of fact, their official statement is that they're too loosely organized for any single official statement. They wanted to be very frank about that. But they are all, quote, beyond furious, and a few will likely quit but the majority will keep going because they do not want to hurt the community, as the end user is not at fault here. That's anybody that has the Battlescribe app and enjoys using it to make their armies, whatever they are. And, they get it, right? They said they were very frank about this. Not a single one of them makes a penny for their work maintaining the data files that actually make Battlescribe of value. So it's great the Battlescribe's still around, in my opinion, but the fact that these dudes that are over here hustling for this developer and providing all the value, not getting a single dime and they're not even getting communication from this guy. He just pops up and is like, tee, oh, my bad. My credit card, but doesn't even bother to talk to these folks over here that are actually doing the Lord's work for us all. And then just like poof, vanishes back into the night. I don't know.
So we know this to be true. Like even Wyatt has interactions with these individuals, and there's a lot of individuals who make up the data maintenance squad, as I shall call it, who are free. And so to our knowledge, it is a fact that they don't receive income in any capacity, especially not from the donate to Battlescribe button. So It does not appear to be, through interactions with these individuals, any pass-through of currency. So it kind of does paint Battlescribe in a new light for me, honestly, hearing a lot of this. And I've always known that, I've always like kind of laughed at it, like, oh, who cares, man? Like everything's fine. But I never really took a moment to think about it in the way that you and Wyatt presented it, where I'm like, that's kind of shady. And I respect the shit out of these people who are like, well, we don't want the community to suffer, the end user, experience to suffer. It's like, man, that dude is committed. That's the Lord's work. You're right. Like, because I would never fault that individual saying, fuck this. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the fact that they're still that committed to, because it has been a revolutionary app for our gaming, has been Battlescribe. Like 100% game changing for us in our scheming sessions, our accuracy of everything. Even though we can talk about how it's not always perfect. I mean, it's a lot more perfect than pen and paper 40K was. It's a lot more perfect than those like CDs they used to send us on Army Builder, right? You remember those? Bro, it's definitely revolutionary. So I hate to see something bad happen to it, but I also am now torn hearing this stuff, and my little anecdote from earlier in the pregame show is that I was struggling. My Battlescribe was kind of acting weird. Probably during some of this, but also, as we have mentioned, Battlescribe is not always perfect, right? It will never be totally perfect. But it's very accurate. And so I was struggling to get certain things to happen, and not every army list I was working on for different factions, just some of them. And one of them was I could not get it to allow me to deploy a special issue piece of war gear under any circumstances. No matter how I went into the app and purchased the stratagems, nothing. It would not unlock Quake rounds. I could not get it to work. I was like, but before the newest update, before Nephilim, I did. He was fine, right? But it's something happened in the new warlord traits assignments and stuff, right? I was like, oh man, I hate having this like Battlescribe list doesn't show it correctly, because then I'd have to go and edit it to make it show correct, like on paper. So I was like, you know what I haven't used in about 6 months, Rob?
What's that?
The Warhammer app.
Oh boy.
I mean, and I still pay for it. It's like my meme, like that I keep paying them, and I know somebody over there in accounting sees that, like I have my name, everything. Like, I'm like, this guy that we fucking hate still paying us for this app. I'm like, I am. Because I use the app every day. I use it to reference rules quickly on my phone. And I haven't bought all the codexes, and the lifespan of the value has kind of deteriorated now, because now we have almost all the new codexes. And so having access to every pre-9th edition codex is no longer valuable. But I have enough codes in here and access to new, the stuff I'm playing, that I use it quite often. I have both tabs open and I go back and forth, right? It's just really easy and convenient. Well, I went into the Battleforge section of the Warhammer app when I was struggling, literally yesterday, I think. And I was like, you know what? I haven't used this shit. And I have exactly 3 army lists in here, Rob. I have one that I made Like the first day this thing became a thing, it was when it was in beta.
Okay.
And then I have the next one I tried after everyone in the community said, here's what's wrong with the app. And then I have one I just made yesterday. All three of them post noted improvements from the previous time I used it. I can't even say this without, like, is a fact. They all have improved. And the new one I just made, I made my Blood Angels army in like 7 minutes. Perfectly.
Wow.
I went in there, everything worked, everything was perfect. All the little weird things like the drop downs, like, or like when you have to remember to take the bolter off the guy if you give him this, none of that matters. It's just button clicks. Great experience. And oh, hey, sure enough, Quake bolts on my fucking Sanguinary Priest. There it is. That's what I've been trying to do for 2 days. You know what I mean? Boom, everything. It's like, hey, don't forget your Warlord trait assignment. Oh, don't forget your second power. It's like, oh, thanks, dog. Click, click, click. Did it all. And I was like, okay, let me look at the output on this. This is perfect. Dog, I was like, is other people having this experience with it? Or did everyone just already close down on the app and stop paying them money? Because I don't judge you if you stop paying them $5 or $6 a month.
I mean, I haven't heard of. All last I heard was that there was going to be an update in May, and there was never any update on the update. So hard to say.
I would love to see Battlescribe become a business that's worth money. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't think it will. Like, it's a free app and you can buy a pro version of it. I don't think the data maintenance squadron is payrollable in that capacity.
I mean, yeah, it's questionable legal wise, but
I don't think you could payroll that workforce. I don't think it supports that financially. Like, I don't think there's any way it could. I don't think it could be a real business. Like, it has to be a shady business that is one guy who makes all the money and everyone works for free in the community.
I mean, there is some legal ramification if money changes hands, for sure, for doing the work of maintaining those data files. Yes. I can't tell you what that is because I don't know.
No, you're right. And also but like, assuming that wasn't the case, I just don't think it could be a business. I don't think you can make a business on an app that just compiles numbers together for you in like a spreadsheet that I can do myself. You know what I'm saying? Which I do all the time. I don't think like beyond 2 employees.
Oh yeah. I mean, business wise, yeah.
I don't think business wise that being your only product could support more than 2 employees.
Well, I mean, that's why you got to have ads on things too, because it helps subsidize.
That's what I'm saying with all that, with ads, everything. I don't think you could pay beyond 2 people living wage.
It's hard to say.
Like, so I don't even know what the future of Battlescribe looks like, man. You know?
Well, there are some indicators to what that dude's actually pulling down over there, and it's a little off-putting to see that kind of number. But, especially when it's built off the backs of people that have been ghosted and not compensated for their time. I don't know the legality on that, but at least talk to your bros. Like, they're doing the work. Like, come on. Anyways.
No, thanks for the update on that, man. And I think that's some good information the community should have, makes, just more information, the better,
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly. So let's switch gears.
Absolutely.
Let's kick it over to Wyatt. Boots on the ground. Yeah. Salt Lake City. You just came back.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too hot, so I apologize for my voice. Been trying to chug some water because my throat's like super messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, great event. Got nothing but good things to say about Salt Lake City Open, put on by the Lightly Salted guys. Mario's the TO. Thomas was the head judge. Did a great event. It was 9 rounds. So we did 6 rounds and then potted RTTs on day 3 while the top 8 played. And I just had a great time. Like, all my opponents were on a sportsmanship level, probably the best that I've ever had at a major. Like, it was great. I ended up going 4-2, and then I got to play a couple of games on day 3, including kind of an exhibition game against Lou Rollins, who's like the nicest man in 40K. What a paragon of sportsmanship he is. So that was a ton of fun. And a really surprising top 8. So, Sisters of Battle and Necrons have just been tearing it up in Warzone Nephilim season, just scoring crazy points. But in the top 8, there was no Sisters of Battle or Necrons. So we had a really wild, like one of the better games that I've seen in a long time for the championship, and kind of like Rocky fighting Apollo Creed, it came down and there was a draw at the end. So the last game came out in a draw, and Lee Harris with Night Renegades ended up winning the event because in the course of the normal tournament, he had already played Scott Rumpel with his Space Wolves, and Lee had won that game. And so because of the draw in the final table of the top 8, ended up going in Lee's favor. And going the distance with Chaos Knights is very commendable, because what we see a lot with those Knight players is guys that are just sort of like, they play Knights because they're easy, big models, move them around, shoot a lot of guns, see what happens. But people that are really, really good with Chaos Knights or Imperial Knights, like, they really have a deep understanding of using those big models to move around and how to play into the game. It's always great to watch, and they are capable of great things, obviously. And then seeing stuff like Space Wolves, they get to the top 8, and a really kind of eclectic mix of Space Wolves units, taking a lot of Wolfen. People have said for years that Wolfen are like doo-doo, but apparently Wolfen doing real good.
What was in that Space Wolf list? I know a lot of people would be interested.
Let me open it up. There he goes. Okay, so starting off with the battalion, and he's running Successor style, Master Artisan's Whirlwind of Rage, so he's getting that free reroll, and double explosions in the fight phase, which plays into the Space Wolves, so he's getting the explosions from Space Wolves trait, and then an additional explosion from Whirlwind of Rage. Got your Captain on Bike, got your Chaplain, doing Chaplain things, some incursors.
Oh yeah, Space Wolf Chaplain is pretty boss.
Good grip of Wolf Guard, running the old
jump pack shield situation.
Yep. The Template Guard.
Yep. And then 3 units of Wolfen doing the Thunderhammer Storm Shield. And yeah, they all have Thunderhammer Storm Shields. Some Landspeeder Tornadoes. Let's see. Is it one or multiples? I think it's just one.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So it's 3 individual tornadoes. For people who don't know, that's an assault cannon and a multi-melta on there. 3 Eliminator units as well.
Oh, wow. I love Eliminators, dude.
Yep. Let's see. Last Fusel Eliminators on all these.
Yeah, Last Fusel's free now. Eliminator is 75 points for a scout deploy unit with 0+ save and cover. And it plays into the Space Wolf secondary of like getting charged and charging for points.
Right.
So Lightspeeder can do that.
He was using the something Sagas, whatever that secondary is they have. That's like the Saga type stuff. He was using that into a lot of games. So yeah, like doing crazy things there. The Night Renegades had like 1 big knight, and then everything else was War Dogs. So kind of changing the pace a little bit, because what we've been seeing out of Chaos Knights is just all War Dogs. And then when the new CSM book came out and everything was real fresh, we were seeing the Abaddon the Dog Walker list, which was Abaddon and then all War Dogs. Pretty funny. Got Matt Evans in 3rd place with High Fleet Behemoth. And then we've got Blood Angels coming in at 4th place. So not the only Space Marines up there.
Who was playing that list?
Evan Stump.
Oh, I know that guy.
And we got Derek Holder in 5th place with some Toads. Custodies making the top 8.
I want to just to put that out there to the community. Anybody who quit Custodies, I was like, Doug, somebody just made top 8 with him.
Yeah, Derek started a lightly salted crew, and he was doing a lot of great work with the Custodies. And we got Nicholas Winker with Death Guard in 6th place.
Sick.
And we got my boy Steven Corrales with his Alpha Legion coming in at 7th place, doing some wily stuff with Alpha Legion. And when everybody said Alpha Legion was bad, he's top 7. And then we got Rich Kilton in 8th place with Orcs.
Wow, what a
Orcs
mix.
again. Very cool.
What a fucking sick mix. What was in that Blood Angel list? Walk me through that. I'm curious as somebody who's working on Blood Angels right now.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
With the frag rounds.
Let's see. Got a battalion, actual Blood Angels, Dante, Primaris Chaplet on bike. Let's see. Sometimes these Battlescribe entries are a little hard to break down, so I'm trying to read through them. Litany of Faith, Canticle of Hate, Master of Sanctity, Crozius, Icon of the Angel.
It's a charge reroll bubble.
Yep. Relic, Twin Bolt Rifle, Wise Orator.
Oh, yeah, that's the upgrade to the Chaplain.
Yeah. So is the Relic the icon?
Yes.
Okay. Saying Priest.
Sanguinary Priest, jump pack or anything? How many points is he? Yeah. Okay.
120. Assault Intercessors, Incursors, Infiltrators.
Yeah, see, I'm right there with him.
Got Death Company Marines. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 5-man with Thunderhammers.
180
Death
points.
Company.
Yeah.
Yes. And then looks like a bare bones unit with jump packs 105. Sanguinary Ancient with Rights of War.
It's a good old Sanguinary Ancient. Yo.
And then Wrath of Baal. Is that a relic?
Yeah.
Okay. And then Sanguinary Guard, Sanguinary Guard, Sanguinary Guard.
So triple Sanguinary Guard, how big are those squads?
Count them up. 1, 2, 6-man unit. They're 195. Every one of them.
Nice.
195. And then an assault squad, 2nd, 3rd assault squad. Yep. So it's literally all infantry with jump packs, except for the Chaplet on bike.
I like it. Very cool. Hell yeah. I mean, that's a classic list right now. That works really well. Fucking love it. I love that he has the Rights of War on the Sanguinary Ancient.
Yeah, and as KR Quinn said, the game between Evan and Scott Rumpel was wild. Some of the roles that were going on. The Wolfen killed like an entire Sanguinary Guard squad fighting in death. Like it was super fun.
That's intense. Like you said, one Wolfen.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So he just rolled a bunch of 6s and exploded. That's
so that was really cool. There was a little bit of a weird thing. So I say this just as a discussion topic, not as a negative, but there was a little bit of a disconnect when they were doing the initial placing. So initially at the end of round 6, they were using win path or strength of schedule, whichever one you want to call it, as like a tertiary tiebreak kind of thing for placing metrics, which most people were fine with. Some people were kind of complaining about it because the discussion was if it was in the player pack, how they were going to do placements. So in this instance, I'm a little biased because if we were doing win path, I would have made 15. But because they didn't do win path, I got bumped down to 27. But just as kind of a topic, I think that WinPath in general should just be the way that we do things. And the reason I say that is because the trend now is that on day one, most of these tournaments are doing random pairings for rounds 1, 2, and 3. So they're still using win-loss. So like, unless there's a weird odd man out, a winner is going to play a winner. Loser is going to play a loser for those first 3 rounds. But battle points have no bearing on those matchups. Whereas what we've been used to in the past is win-loss battle points for pairings throughout the entire tournament. So I think that if we're going to do true random for the first day, then we should have win path or strength of schedule as a placing metric, because what can happen is you have guys that go to tournament after tournament after tournament playing people that may go to like 1 or 2 tournaments a year, and they're kind of like seal clubbing their way to good placings. And because of the true random nature of it, it throws in like an extra kind of metric there. So I'd be interested, like, what do you guys think? Because I think if you're going to do random,
path of win-loss, strength of schedule is like ELO light based on our ELO discussion. And I've always enjoyed it as a metric that has been utilized in the Best Coast Parents app. I love it because you look at it and you're like, oh, that got a tough fight. You know, I like that. 100% endorse the idea of using it as a pairing tool. 100%.
Right.
I think it's definitely more accurate than just win-loss and battle points. Because placing winners or winners is great. Placing winners with winners who have similar battle points is also great. Placing winners with similar battle points and similar strength of schedule is even better.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's just a more accurate and less random way to do things, and I can get behind that. I don't even see how it could be like argued otherwise. Like, it just seems good,
yeah,
right?
I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah. So you know.
Sorry, I was having a coughing fit.
Well,
yeah. So, like I said, I'm only very slightly biased. Like, doesn't bother me. I had a great time, but I would have liked to have been 15 instead of 27. I just think that if we want to do random, because the random pairings day one is in response to players kind of gaming the win-loss battle points system to submarine, or try to avoid playing hard matches until like they make it into top 8 or getting into later rounds. And so we've been doing random, where it's just like you play a winner and that's it.
It's the least accurate
loser and that's it.
mm-hmm.
Right. Because they want to avoid subreading, and that's fine. But I think that if we want to do that, we need to have strength of schedule in place, because at that point you might lead to unfair pairings. Because like if somebody wins and they barely won because their opponent was really tough, and this other person got like a 100 because their opponent is like the dad brigade that only comes out to like one tournament a year or something, whose win is worth more at that point? Like the guy who just like GG bodied somebody who was not on their level, or the guy who got paired up into a good player and like had to work for it. Right.
Yeah. It's not, to me, it's not even about like fairness. It's just accuracy.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like the game is inherently unfair. Like it's just an unnecessary lack of accuracy to not utilize that statistic that is being propagated by Best Coast Pairings anyway. Like it's straight up just more accurate. You know, like it's just a better tool to be utilized, because there's still like conjecture in who is even good and who counts as a baby seal and who doesn't. You know, like there's, you know, it's like, no, like in this vacuum at one event, this is the strength of schedule, and the longer the event goes on, the more precise that metric becomes. And so when it matters the most in championship rounds, it's been established, and it just tightens the whole operation up, because that is empirical. That is beyond contestation. Like, this is the path to victory. This guy's matches, these are the people he played. This is how well they did. And that number propagates to a higher strength of schedule because he played all top performers whose only loss was him. That is strength. You know what I mean? That's more accurate.
Right.
I love that. But, and you know, it's just a great thing to throw out there. So if you're ever looking at the Best Coast Parent app and you're new to the game and you hear somebody mention that strength of schedule, there's numbers in there that calculate that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was a great time. Like I said, I can't say enough nice things about the event they put on, and like prize support was great. The best in faction awards, they went above and beyond, because at most events this size, it was right about 100 guys signed up for the tournament. I think by the end of round 6, we had about 95 or so. Every faction was represented. So we had the super factions and then actual codex factions as well, which you normally don't get at events of this size. And I believe, I can't remember their name, but a local business whose owner was part of the community, they do like microbrewing and coffee. They donated all the faction awards, and they were laser etched slate tablets. So they were, I don't know, like the size of like an iPad mini, something about, like
iPad
maybe
mini.
Like 6 inches across, maybe like 8 inches tall, just like black slate with laser etching on there. Super cool prizes. They did a raffle to help a guy out with some heart surgery bills. So if that's something you'd be interested in, like hit up the Lightly Salted team, any of their members, or find the TO for, I can't remember his last name, and I don't want to butcher it, but his name is Mario. Like, reach out to him, see if you can help out with that charity drive to help out that player. They gave away a Reaver Titan was the raffle for helping out with the charity drive.
Very cool, man. Well, I think we've done it. We're using a new schedule now, so let's see if we can wrap this one up. Unless anybody has final closing remarks.
I think we've hit all the points, dude.
All right, then let's get out of here, Wyatt.
Rob,
you made him unmute himself and rasp his throat for that.
Worth it.
fucked up.
Worth it. I tend to agree with you, Kenny. So that's it for this one, y'all. Thanks for watching. Make sure to head over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.